And the next part we're going to go over is finding the intercepts. So when we talk about intercepts, I'm talking about the x-intercept and the y-intercept. In the x-intercept, we are in the form of a value for x, comma, 0 for y. So the one thing you need to remember about x-intercept is that your y is always 0. And you're simply going to have to find a value for x. Now for the y-intercept, is in the form of 0, comma, y, meaning that you're looking for the y value while your x value is always 0. So I repeat, for your y-intercept, your x value is always 0, and you're just going to do the work in order to find a value of y. So if you take a look at these two intercepts and you compare them, if you're looking for the x-intercept, you're trying to find x while y is 0. For the y-intercept, you're trying to find the value for y while your x is 0. So x-intercept and y-intercept, there's always going to have the opposite letter that is equal to 0. So if you're looking for x-intercept, the opposite is y, it's always 0. And you're just trying to solve for x. Your y-intercept, the opposite is your x, that is always 0, and you're just simply trying to find a value for y. So make sure you have this in your notes, and it's just going to be simple work on trying to find the x-intercept and y-intercept. The one thing you got to make sure is that when you write in your final answer, you have to write in a coordinate point for your x-intercept and your y-intercept. So if I ask you to find the intercept, you should have two answers. One coordinate point for x-intercept and the second coordinate point for the y-intercept. So now we're going to apply this into the following examples. In our first example, we have this equation in slope-intercept form. So if you're trying to get, doesn't matter which one you want to do first, x-intercept or y-intercept, doesn't matter, the order should be the same for the work. So say that you're trying to find the x-intercept. So I'm going to be looking for the x-intercept. So when you're looking for the x-intercept, we know that the y value is always 0. So I'm going to rewrite the equation, but I'm going to plug in 0 for y. Because that's the only thing we know for sure. And for x-intercept, we're trying to get x by itself. So in order to get x by itself, I'm going to cancel out this 8. So I'm going to add 8 on the right, add 8 on the left. So it's going to be 8 equal negative 3x. And try to get x by itself, I'm going to divide by negative 3. So it's going to be negative 8 thirds equal to x. So that means that my x-intercept, again, is going to be in coordinate point form. So I'm going to put negative 8 thirds for x here, comma, and since I'm doing the x-intercept, the y value is always 0. So parenthesis here, parenthesis here. That will be my answer for the x-intercept, which I'm going to box. And it's okay to have fraction as long as that you're able to simplify the fraction if you can. Next, we're going to do the work for the y-intercept. So I'm going to write y-intercept here. And we're going to use the same slope-intercept form equation right here. So for the y-intercept, we know that x is always 0. So I'm just simply going to plug in 0 for x. So y equal negative 3 times 0 minus 8. So I'm going to simplify negative 3 times 0, which will be y equal 0 minus 8. And then to simplify, y equals 0 minus 8 will simply be negative 8. So from there, my y value will be negative 8 for the y-intercept. So again, in coordinate point form, y-intercept, my x is 0, and my y value is negative 8. And then I put in parentheses, that will be the coordinate point for my y-intercept. So again, on the x-intercept, I solve for x and get the x value, -8/3, and put it in coordinate point form. For the y-intercept, I solve for y, where my y value is -8, and I plug it into my coordinate point form. So these are my two answers for the intercepts. So in our second example, we have our equation in slope-intercept form, y equals 6x minus 45. So let's do the x-intercept. Now for the x-intercept, we know that the y value is always 0. So I'm going to plug in 0 for y, which will look like this. 0 equals 6x minus 45. So I'm going to try to solve for x. I'm going to cancel out the minus 45. Plus 45, and then plus 45. So 45 equal to 6x. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 6. So my x will equal to 45 over 6. Now, I can still simplify the fraction because both of them are divisible by 3. So if I divide the top by 3, 45 divided by 3 will be 15. And then 6 divided by 3 will be 2. So my final x value will be 15 over 2. So therefore, my x-intercept will be the coordinate of 15 over 2, comma 0 for my my x-intercept, and that will be my final answer. Alright, next we're going to do the y-intercept. So we're going to use the same equation, but this time I want to plug in 0 for x. So it's going to be y equal 6 times 0 minus 45. So I'm going to simplify 6 times 0. It will be y equals 0 minus 45. And then we're going to do 0 minus 45 will simply be minus 45. So therefore, my y value of the y-intercept is -45. So my coordinate point is 0, comma, -45. And then put parentheses. There is my answer, my final answer for the y-intercept. And now I have my two answers, x-intercept and y-intercept, for this given equation in slope-intercept form. In this example, we have the equation given in standard form. So we're going to do the same process. So first we're going to do the x-intercept. Now for the x-intercept, we know that the y value is 0. So I'm just going to plug in 0 for y. And I'm going to have something like this. 3x minus 4 times 0 equals to 10. So it's going to be 3x, -4 times 0 will be minus 0 equals to 10, which will simplify into 3x equal to 10. Divide by 3. So x value will equal to 10 over 3. Therefore, my coordinate of the x-intercept will be 10 over 3, comma 0, and then that's my coordinate point. That would be my final answer. Now, I'm going to do the same process with the y-intercept. So for the y-intercept, that means that our x value will be 0. So I'm going to plug in 0 for x. So it's going to look like this. So 3 times 0 minus 4y equals to 10. So 3 times 0 will be 0 minus 4y equals to 10. So it's going to be simply negative 4y equals to 10. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. So my y will equal to negative 10 over 4. But I can simplify because the numerator and the denominator can be divisible by 2. So actually it will be negative 5 over 2. So therefore my coordinate for the y-intercept will be 0, comma, negative 5 over 2 with parentheses. And that will be my final answer for the y-intercept. So here's the coordinate for the y-intercept, 0, comma, negative 5 halves. So it's the same process as the previous example, and just basically plug in for 0, and again 2 answers, x-intercept, y-intercept, for this given equation. In this example, we have negative 7x plus 5y equals 3, and this is in standard form. So let's continue the same process. I'm looking for x-intercept. So for x-intercept, again, y value is always 0. I'm going to simply plug in 0 for y. And we're going to have negative 7x plus 5 times 0 equals to 3. Negative 7x, 5 times 0 will be 0 equals to 3. Then that's just going to simplify into 7, or negative 7x equals to 3. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 7 to solve for x. So my x value will equal to negative 3 over 7. So therefore my coordinate will be negative 3 over 7, comma 0 for my x-intercept. And that will be my final answer. Next, we're going to do the y-intercept. And remember, y-intercept, my x value is always 0. So I'm going to plug in 0 for x. So it's going to be negative 7 times 0 plus 5y equals to 3. So negative 7 times 0 will be 0. And now we're at plus 5y equals to 3. 0 plus 5y will simply be 5y, and then equal to 3. I'm going to divide both sides by 5 to solve for y. So my y will equal to positive 3 over 5. So my coordinate point will be 0, comma 3 over 5. So that would be my coordinate point, my final answer for the y-intercept. So again, make sure to remember to have 2 answers when you're doing the x and y-intercept. Negative 3 over 7, comma 0 for x-intercept. 0, comma 3 over 5 for the y-intercept.